Hey everyone, it's Robert A. and thanks for going M.I.A. with us. M.I.A. is a support group for all that are struggling with mental illness, and M.I.A. standing for mental illness awareness, but not targeting specifically people only struggling with mental illness, but mental health issues in our day-to-day lives that we may struggle with, to come together and get support and be able to be resource to one another to get on throughout the week. So we thank you for joining us again this week. Clarence is going to take us forward, and then we'll get into the topic for this
All right, y'all listen. Don't forget, look, we are not doctors. All right, listen. All right, y'all. So we're not doctors. So this channel does not substitute for that. If you're really, really feeling like you need some help, especially if you have suicidal thoughts, I need you to call either your primary care physician or immediately hang up and call the National Suicide Prevention Line at 1-800-273-8255. Don't forget, man. We're just here to chat with you about what our thoughts are surrounding these issues. But if you really need help, please make sure you reach out again to 1-800-273-8255.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Pastor Jax. So thank you all for joining us again this week. I see a few of you are here giving us some thumbs up. We appreciate you rolling in, and we're excited to get talking on the topic for this week, which is managing stress. So just to navigate the conversation briefly, Amber Smith said, "Welcome back." Thank you. We
Hey,
appreciate you
Amber.
being
What's
so
up,
so
Amber?
dedicated. We appreciate
Jordan?
it. So stress is an emotional or physical tension. Any emotional or physical tension. So, like anything, there could be good stress, like working out. Right after a good workout, you might feel some physical tension. That's like stress on your body. But we really want to talk about managing the stress that lasts for long stretches of time, because that's when it becomes negative stress. And we'll have some resources in the description below that we're going to be referencing throughout the conversation for you to take advantage of and be able to seek and really take into your perspective on how to manage your stress a little better. And we'll always, of course, comment in our comment section. Of course, as always, we have our anonymous chat in the description as well. There's a link for you to click to be able to leave an anonymous comment if you'd like to do that, or leave us a comment right here so that we can discuss. What's up with Pastor Jax, man? How you doing? How are you managing stress right now? You on vacation?
Man, let me tell you something.
That's a
I'm managing
management.
stress. I'm managing stress the best way you can in
Mm-hmm.
COVID 19, 2020, or whatever it's called. But I'm on vacation. I was in Tennessee. I was in Chicago. I'm now in Atlanta. I'm headed to Charlotte. And so I'm managing stress because I like to take road trips, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not on any planes, so anybody that's worried about me, I'm not on any planes. But I am washing my hands and all these kinds of things. But I'm enjoying this because I have never been to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've been to Atlanta when I was a student at Morehouse, but I'd never been to Chicago. But so here I am, chilling and enjoying this opportunity, and then we run into a protest.
Yeah, I saw you post about that.
Yeah, man. But what happened at the protest was daunting. You have people there who really don't care about Black Lives Matter, if you will. So that was kind of stressful to try to navigate that. But to say it plainly, yeah, man, I'm managing stress. I really am. Right now, I am. But I
Yeah,
want to hear in the comments how others are managing their stress.
yeah. Amber said, "Okay, Pastor." Yeah,
All right.
get him.
Right. Y'all gotta pray for me, man,
Yeah.
because I'm always in the thick of things. So the only reason I'm in Atlanta, obviously, is because of Rashard Brooks, and
Mm-hmm.
we just got in last night, and today I had a lot of work to do for work, and so tomorrow we're headed over to the Wendy's, and then we're going to help to try to support some of the movements that's going on here. So that's why we're here. I would not have stopped here otherwise, but yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a method of managing your stress as well. Um, and,
Yeah.
and this is funny because we were just talking about you, Jeanette, and Jeanette says he's glowing. I don't
He's
even
what?
recognize this man. Self care manifests from the inside out. Jeanette, he done shaved
Jeanette,
his face.
I,
Jeanette, he got a box cut, a part in his head. Jeanette, and I wasn't gonna say nothing, but now that Jeanette said it, because this is how I manage stress. This is how I manage stress.
I've had 3 haircuts in like a week and a half. I've had a Chicago cut. I've had an Atlanta cut. Man, I'm out here chilling. Let me tell you something. The other thing I'm doing, and I'm not going to put this off on nobody, but listen, y'all. Robin knows this. I am a retail therapy type of guy. You feel me? The best way for me to manage stress is the retail therapy. And so, bro, I have purchased new Ray-Bans and Birkenstocks and all this. And so I'm cool. And Jeanette, what you see is what you get because I'm having a great time
Ashley
on the road.
McKay said. Ashley McKay said he does look really young.
Hey, that's my sister-in-law. Hey, Ash, I do look good, don't know. Which side? Which side you want to see? But no, I'm having a great time. I am. I'll be home this weekend, but the kids won't be home, and so I'm trying to figure out what's my next move. I mean, I got it. Father's Day is this weekend, and so I got a couple more minutes, but I can't stay here too long. But I'm leaving Atlanta on Friday, and we're driving back to Baltimore, and so yeah, I got to figure out what I'm doing for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, man. We're gonna get right to the support because we have and I don't want to skip over Jeanette's comment. Jeanette made some important comment. She said she's been decorating and making some quiet moves for the future. Moving money makes her happy, which is great. I'm good with that. Like we appreciate it. I just have someone, Veronica Simmons says, it's hard to manage stress. There's nothing to do. So I didn't want to breeze over your comment, Jeanette, but I really wanted to make sure we get to what we're here for, which is support. Because that seems like a hopeless place, and I understand because I guess it is a tough spot, given the times now. But well, Clarence, what would you suggest for someone at saying that there's nothing? I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments and talk at the same time, so that's why I'm deferring to you. It's hard to manage
I got
stress. There's nothing to do.
nothing to do. Let me tell you something, Veronica. That basement ain't been cleaned out. That attic hasn't been cleaned out. That book hasn't been read. That book hasn't been written.
Right.
That garden hasn't been planted.
Well, sometimes that could
That
be
I
stressful
get
too and overwhelming in itself.
it is. I get it. It is overwhelming. But let me tell you the best thing I learned when I was in college. You know this, having gone through. The best thing we learned in college was when you're studying and something hits your mind, write it down, right? So that you can get that out of your brain and move on to your studies. And so what that means, and when you translate that into real life, is when you're working on something and something hits your brain, you're like, oh shoot, I need to do so and so. Write that thing down. And what you're doing is you're creating a proverbial to-do list. And after a while, you're like, man, I might not do the garden today, but I can definitely organize these books. Or I can definitely clean off the dining room table. Or I can definitely clean out the junk drawer. And so little things matter much over time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like one day you clean off the dining room table. You go in the dining room and be like, man, it feels fresher in here. It feels cleaner in here. You know what I mean? So, Veronica, I understand you because when I'm home, there's nothing to do. But because now I'm on vacation, I got a whole lot to do. And so I would recommend that you find something to do. Even if it's just sitting there, don't be afraid to sit there and gaze off into the abyss. That's something to do. If your mind is racing, just sit there and look out into the abyss and just thank God for the little things.
Yeah, I'm gonna share a different opinion, bro. Um,
As you should, as you
be,
always will, bruh.
because I just feel like um, I've been in places in my life where trying to manage stress by unpacking kind of creates more stress. It kind of diverts you from actually what you're stressing about, and then makes it a big whirlwind. Um, for me, and I'm not just I'm saying for me, I think management of stress is really being able to come to grips with how much of whatever the situation is that you can control. Um, and I would
Yeah.
say um, starting to work from there backwards and really unpacking. So what I mean is, if something is We said we were going to do this today, Clarence, so we were going to do it. So, and what we said was open up a bit more about, So it is managing stress in my life. One very burdening piece of my life, in terms of managing stress, is parenting my children that are from two very different mothers, and managing that stress every day for me looks like being realistic about how much of that I can control and being intentional about controlling what I can control. And that's all I can do. And that's the biggest piece to stress is a lot of people can't come to that realization. It's called radical acceptance. It's a DBT tactic. It's called radically accepting what you can't change and only working on the things that you can.
Yeah.
And so you just gotta hope for the best after that. It's a constant stress. It's a constant emotional and physical tension, right? So that's bad stress. And trying to manage that is a daily affirmation and reminder of to myself of that, and to really be intentional about the time that they have together to make sure that they all grow, equity. So that's what I meant for me. Now with that situation, if I tried to distract myself with other things, I don't think it would help me manage that stress. You get what I'm saying? That was my reason for sharing it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel you. Well, my thought is
right now they're debating in the comments of which one of us is cuter. So go ahead, and then we can get to something else in a second.
I already know the answer to that, so y'all can go ahead and keep confabulating as much as you want.
I got facial hair.
Nah. You got facial hair, boy.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on Ashley's comment. Ashley said. Ashley said. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Ashley said sometimes to-do lists stress me out, and that's what I was saying too.
You said sometimes what?
To-do list stress me out.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Jeanette said.
Here's what I've come to. Say again.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to give y'all something that y'all always hear. So let me hear what the next commenter said.
Okay. Jeanette said, I've been spending a lot of time outside. Vitamin D is a natural antidepressant. Yes, it is. Especially if you can get up the energy to get outside. That's great.
Right.
And that's a great management tactic. Share some of the things you do to actually get up and get outside, because I know for a lot of people that's the hardest part, to be able to get that relief. They know it's there. They know it's going to happen, but being able to activate and get into that mode is one of the harder things for a lot of people. So if you have some tactics for that, Jeanette, thank you. Ashley McKay said that I don't think this relieves stress. It's just something to keep you busy. What you were saying about the decluttering and things as well. So, even your sister-in-law agrees with me. So that on that. And your sister, Tashika, she just said LOL. But I guess because we were debating. They were in Ashley.
Well, no.
Molly going back and forth.
Molly's always on my side.
Okay.
Now Ashley, she's going to go with what best suits her. But Molly, while you're watching, if you speak antithetical to this, you'll know what happens. You'll have to watch my kids for 2 weeks. So Molly is always on my side. I agree. Sometimes to-do lists, can be daunting. I also agree that sometimes decluttering can be a chore. But what I have, the question was, what does Pastor Jack do?
Yeah, for you.
What I have learned, and Molly is probably going to comment, Ashley's probably going to comment, you're probably going to chime in, but I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. What I have learned is cleaning my house is a great way to...
Okay, so Jeanette said, when I wake up, the first thing I do is open every window to bring in natural sunlight. If I don't want to be around people, I'll just sit on the porch. That's a good tactic. I'm going to try that. Maybe, because I guess if you do just open the window, it may give you motivation to be outside. You may say, oh, that's a nice breeze. That's good. And it's little things like that make the difference. So I appreciate you sharing that.
to Jeanette, you know what I do, as you guys probably can tell right now? I am a natural sunlight kind of guy. Do not, if I come into a house and the sun is up and the blinds are closed or the shutters are closed or the shades are closed,
Mm.
I'm opening them. I don't want to, all this man-made light when God made this beautiful natural light. So for the entire duration that the sun is up, now people are saying, my father in ministry would say, you know, I don't like this, my blinds open too wide because of certain reasons. I don't care. You know what I mean? So people saying people were looking into your house. I don't care what you see. I want to see the light, and I want that light to shine in on me. And so
Right.
that's another thing I like what you said. Not only lift the I'm in a hotel. I didn't figure out a way to lift the window and to get a little breeze in here, but I also, got the shades open. I wanna see the light. Yeah, I need the light.
Yeah, that's what's up. Amber said, when I am stressed, sometimes I have some guilty pleasures like reality TV, having a drink, etc. Not sure if that's right or not, but it helps in the moment. Nobody's here to even really tell you what's right for you, um,
Yeah, ain't nothing
because
wrong with a
and it's
reality show or drink, and I got Bible for that
about reality show.
about drinks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, the
So
whole Bible,
Amber,
the whole Bible reality show,
yeah, that's true.
but
So Amber, yeah, not guilty pleasures, but anything in dose is fine, because everybody has to unplug, and sometimes for me, unplugging is watching like National Geographic. It's just weird things that I enjoy, different things. So that isn't. If I waste all my time watching National Geographic and I'm not getting done what I'm supposed to get done, the content doesn't matter. It's about the time that you spend on it. So take things in doses, and that's a good way to actually manage your stress. Is to have a drink at the end of a stressful day, or be able to say, I'm going to watch this show because I need a mental break. So that's actually don't be so hard on yourself. Jeanette said baby steps, maybe commit to 5 minutes
hang on,
outside
I
and
got
increase
something to
daily.
say.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Um, I would just say that I agree and I disagree, and I agree and disagree because of this. Oh, look at the light shining on my face. I'm gonna go this way because I want the light. Give me the light. So I agree and I disagree. Here's why I agree and disagree. I agree and disagree because the Bible says when Jesus turned water into wine, and you know this, doctor, when he did that, the people were already drunk. they were already inebriated, and he had done this, and he had done this in an immaculate way, and didn't just give them a little bit, little gallon or whatever. He gave them a good amount. And so I say all that to say, if you are, if you have had a stressful day, and you say, you know what, I'm not going to have a glass of wine, I'm going to have a couple glasses, I don't think that you're going to crucify yourself. I just think that, you've had a stressful day. And so I think that whatever your vice is, so much as it's not something that's going to kill you, I think whatever your vice is, you ought to, as Robert has said, take it in doses and in portions, but especially when it comes to, as Amber said, a glass of wine, don't let that hang you up. Have a glass, and then have a glass on me.
So I want to reference a resource in the descriptions. It's a very popular TED Talk called "How to Make Stress Your Friend." You can click on
Yeah.
it when we're done this live as a resource to be able to connect with that, and it's really powerful. It'll really help you to look at stress a little differently. Amber said, "I agree with you both," and that's probably the safest thing to do at this point. Thank you, Amber, for your wisdom in managing my stress on this live today. I appreciate it. Shaker here. Nasasha Parker said, I found that exercise has helped me. I feel so much better, even if it is just a 10-minute walk, music, and a good walk. I go walking almost every day. I at least try to. I try to, and Clarence can vouch for that. He called me and I'm swinging from a tree or something randomly.
Always. in a park
because
or a jungle or forest.
yeah, I really have to get to a place where nothing else is moving but my brain, and then I can really
Yeah.
begin to walk through some of my thoughts. So yeah, music sometimes I need to do that. I just go in the wilderness and dance like David sometimes. So I'm glad you. Oh,
Like who?
Ashley McKay. I don't know my homeboy David from over East Baltimore. Ashley McKay said we have a punching bag, and I've been thinking about getting one.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it. So I was looking for one on Amazon, but they're really heavy to order. So if you have any recommendations on where to
Man, you
get
got a
one,
300 pound. You got a 300 pound bean bag. If you don't get that
it's not
punching
that
bag,
heavy. It's not that heavy. I'll tell you a story about when I was real stressed one time and I was punching the crap out that thing, but I'll tell you off the loud. Veronica Simmons
yeah.
says, "What do you suggest if someone you really love stresses you out? Not being around them is not an option." LOL.
You don't have another room in the house. You got one room in the whole house. No room, nowhere else you can go and hide and lock the door. If that's the case, get out of the house. Find somewhere else to go. You know what I did while I was in Chicago? I hadn't done this probably since I was in my teens. I rode a bike. I rented one of the Lyft bikes. I tried it one time when I was in Fells Point downtown. I got a scooter, one of the scooter things, and moments after I got on it, somehow I fell off of it. It must have been something in the street, and so I never got back on the scooter. But while I was in Chicago, I figured, I can ride a bike. I know how to ride a bike. So I ordered one of the Lyft bikes, and I did about 3.5 miles. But how fun was it to be just zipping through the street, following the safety guidelines and all, but be able to just do that. So, any of you who like riding bikes or like, fresh air or like being outside and you know how to ride a bike, get a bike. I know that when I get back to Baltimore, I've already looked up bikes on Amazon, and I just got to settle on the one that I want. And so by the time I get back to Baltimore, I'm gonna have me a bike. Go get a bike.
Um, Something I would suggest is to really figure out um, what it is that's stressing you out, because the management of that is going to be communication around that. What I mean is, if this loved one stresses you out because um, something simple, they don't clean up after themselves, right? The root of that is having a conversation around why it's important to you, why those things are in place, and really being able to spearhead what it is that's stressing you out by having continual conversation. That's a way of managing it because it's a way of documenting that you are trying to relieve your own stress, and then it's from there. I guess if not being around them is an option, then the only option is to work it out. And the way to work it out is to continue that
Yeah.
communication and that dialogue to be able to be on one accord and be honest with how you feel
With one
and
another.
what you expect with yourself and with whoever it is that's stressing you out. Because honesty is really what's going to bring about that relief is what I would suggest. And Ashley McKay said that they just bought bikes. They got theirs off Facebook Marketplace. Um, Ashley said,
Oh,
"Good
they
suggestion."
sell them on there?
To I believe so. Um, Nasasha said, "Get a bike before you get back to you." I went to 4 stores on Saturday and they were sold out.
Oh
Um,
man, bro, are you kidding me?
Jeanette said, "Definitely no bikes in Baltimore." Um,
None.
Chantel Capers said, "I was thinking about purchasing a bike as well. I heard it's a very good stress relief." Um,
It
yeah,
is,
it
man.
is. It
Bucky,
is,
you're
and it's
right.
good for
Um,
exercise.
it's no bikes in Baltimore.
Every
I'm gonna
store
get a
I
bike in
looked at
Atlanta.
didn't have one because I was looking for something
Dang,
for the kids. But
I found me a bike.
and
Hey, listen, can we start a bike?
Ashley McKay has tons of suggestions on where you can get bikes and things in the comments for everybody
Thanks,
who's
Ash.
looking to pursue that. Clarence, I want to take the moment. I got a text from from someone. I guess it was bothersome. I think they misunderstood your stance on intoxication. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to clarify what you meant. They wanted to know if you were condoning being, drunk off your A is what they said. But I'm trying to dress it up. So just take 10 seconds really quickly so we can move on and clarify yourself. Are you frozen? Or are you wasting time?
I'm not frozen. I'm
All
not
right.
frozen. I'm not. I'm not, bro. I am not frozen.
All right. So
I don't know who it was. I don't know where they came from. God bless you. God be with you. Let me help you understand something. Biblically, water was contaminated. Water, water, water. The very thing that you think is holy and pure, water was contaminated biblically. And so even your baby Jesus, the sweet one that was born on Christmas but really was born in the Aries season, so should have been around about April 23rd, but he was born on December 25th. Your Jesus probably either drank milk from his mother, who drank wine because the water was contaminated, or he was given wine himself because babies in that era was given wine. Not only babies, but wine was used as medicinal purposes because water, again, was contaminated. If you want to have this conversation, you can hit me up at Pastor Jack on any portal that you can find, Facebook, Instagram, and or Twitter. But water was contaminated. And so when it is that Jesus turned water into wine as his first miracle wrought in the garden or at the wedding in Cana of Galilee, he was not doing that because he was trying to get people toe up. The Bible says, my brother and or my sister, the Bible says that when it is that Jesus created water or turned that water into wine, the people were already inebriated. They were already drunk. Let me help you here. Not only were they already drunk, but when they came to Jesus' mother, the assumption is now we're gonna say assumption. The assumption is that when they came to Jesus' mother, it was probably because it was one of Jesus' sisters who was getting married. And the only reason Jesus was there was because his sister was getting married. That's why the Bible says, and Jesus too was invited to the wedding, and he went. And when he got there, he said to his mother, Mom, it's not my time yet. It's not my time yet. I don't have time to be performing miracles. Yes, I done made bread out of nothing. Yes, I done all those other things when I was a kid. But right now, it's not my time yet. And the mother said to the boys, they said, do whatever my son told. She said, do whatever my son told you to do. And he said, go fill up 6 vats of water. Now, 6 vats somewhere between a
wrap this up in
couple
like 15 seconds, bro, because we got these comments.
No, no.
We got you, because I'm gonna have to cut you
off.
off. No, because
Nope.
we on a time frame. We're gonna
Don't
respect
cut
your
me
time.
off.
Make it quick.
Whomever it is, hit me up at Pastor Jack on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and we can continue this conversation. And we'll go from there. Next comment.
Cool. Amber says stress relief tip. Oh, self-care Sunday. I've been seeing. Oh, did you get that from? I think that was on a show recently. Self-care Sunday. Oh, Insecure. Did you get that from Insecure? But I've been actually thinking of. No, I was asking her. I was thinking of actually implementing that. I don't know how realistic that is about my life. I mean, for my life at this point, to be able to take a whole day for self-care, but I'll try. What do you think about that, Clarence? Self-care, like dedicating a day for stress relief, just taking care of self, whatever that may look like.
My therapist told me a couple of weeks ago, and I've used this now as my go-to word. My therapist said, Clarence, you need recovery days. And I think I've said this before on the show. Yeah, and so I even on vacation, I love being on the go. I was at Obama's house and all these other kinds of things. But I need recovery days. I need days where I can say I'm not going to get out of the bed if I don't want to. I'm not going to, answer the phone if I don't want to. I need a day where it's just what Clarence wants to do. And so I definitely encourage self-care days in which you're able to have recovery and rebound from being everything to everybody.
So how do you do that? Do you like structure your schedule where you have like most of your stuff in on certain days, or like how do you how do you carve out the time? You know, a lot of people say that I don't have time. Like, how do you make sure you find that time? Because I don't. That's what, and I'm asking for myself too, because I'm trying to figure out how I can make it realistic for me.
Uh, well, what you first thing you have to do is when you have other people that demand your attention and your time on a regular basis, whether it be a spouse or children, you need to announce to them that daddy or mommy is going to start having recovery days. And you may not be able to, and I want to put this in the space, you may not be able to have a recovery day. You may only be able to have a recovery 15 minutes. No, seriously, a recovery hour. And so what I call that is my therapist said, Clarence, you need to take recovery days. And I explained to her the way my life and schedule of children and other responsibilities are set up, I don't have the luxury always to take a whole day. And so I said to her, I've learned how to take recovery moments, right? And so sometimes the kids are running amok, destroying my house, and somebody else wants me to call them by this time, and I got another meeting on Zoom at this time, and my job is getting on my nerve, and we're gonna get to that at another point. And you know what I do? I shut down. I go to my room. I let everything outside of my room do what it does. Everything. If they go in that bathroom and fill that tub up and flood it over, I'm in my room for 15 minutes. I don't care. And that's
Wow.
really what I have to
How do
get
you?
you.
Yeah.
Because when you get back out there, you're gonna have to clean it up. You're gonna have to navigate and delegate and disseminate anyway. So take a moment where it's like, look, I don't care if the world burn up. I'm gonna take 15 minutes to sit in here and watch the rest of my favorite show. And
Mm-hmm.
when my kids come knocking on the door saying, "Daddy, you still watching Judge Judy?" Yep, I got 10 minutes. And when this 10 minutes is up, I'll be out there because they want to play Tibble Monster. They want to play Fart Touch. They want to play wrestling on the couch. They want to pillow fight. And after a while, Daddy's got a scratch on his hand. He's got a bump on his knee. His foot hurt because I can't do all the stuff that they want to do anymore. And so what you have to do, honestly, is not only just take recovery days, because some of us can't. Take a recovery moment. Take 15 minutes and just say, let the chips fall where they may. Like, when I come back out there in 15 minutes, I'll figure it out. But right now, it's about me.
Before we move on to the next comment, your sister-in-law Molly is a little upset with me because I cut you off. Um, Let me just remind everyone that we're here as a support group to talk about the topic around managing stress. I just wanted to give him the opportunity to clarify what he said. I think he done that sufficiently by the time I cut him off, and he gave a reference to if someone wanted to finish the conversation to be able to do that. So let's leave it there, and we can move on to supporting the people that are here to give what we're here for. Jeanette said, healthy communication. Me and my son's dad can't speak without arguing, so now I just text him. That's the best way for us to communicate right now. I totally understand you. And that's important for
I
you
don't.
to know about yourself because that is what's going to be what's best for your son. And at the end of the day, that's I think that's a good way for you to be able to mediate a temporary situation where you can't speak without arguing today. That doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, but if that's the way today to be able to communicate effectively, or it is a good way. I think that's a good thing that you found an avenue. If it works for you, great. You said no, Clarence. You disagree?
I agree and I disagree. Here's why. When my ex-wife and I were going through leading up to our divorce, there was a lot of contention there, and I think on my part, I definitely can't speak for her, but I think on my part, the contention was, for me, why doesn't she want me anymore? And so most of and I'm just being candid with everybody, with what did I do, and I know what I did, but, egotistically, I'm like, what did I do to not, whatever. And so I had to get through, Clarence, you had your issue, and I had to learn that the only reason that I'm mad with her or bitter with her or arguing with her is because there's still something there that I want her to see. You did this to me. This happened to me. And I'm not speaking, my daughter is calling me, so I got to answer this because I'm not speaking for Jeanette, but I'm speaking for, hey, baby, hang on a second. I'm not speaking for Jeanette. I'm speaking for me. And so when it was that I had to realize, like, I have no reason to argue with my wife. Like, if both of us, here's what I had to learn. If both of us do what's best for our children, regardless of whether or not I think she is right or whether I agree with what she's doing, I know that my wife is not going to do anything to my children that, would be harmful. And so we're not together. We have no other reason to argue other than my children, and so just know, Jeanette, like your child's father is not, hopefully, prayerfully, maybe I'm speaking ill, but your child's father is not going to do anything, whether it be medical or educational or spiritual or physical. He's not going to do anything to hurt the baby. Y'all ain't got nothing to argue about. And I like the fact if he get to argue, we get to text him. That's fine. But just share with him, like, we don't have, you gonna do what's best for the baby. I'm gonna do what's best for the baby, and so, let's just, and if I don't agree, I'm gonna say to you, hey, why you do that? Oh, because now I understand from your perspective. But I used to be that way, where it's like, she makes me sick. She ain't do nothing to make me sick. She ain't do nothing. I was just mad because I still wanted her, and apparently she didn't want me. And I'm not saying that for you, Jeanette. I'm just saying for Clarence. Before the comments go crazy, I'm saying for Clarence. That was why and how I had to get over it. I know my wife ain't going to do nothing to my kids, and guess what? She going to love me anyway. And so I say the same thing to you. Like, as long as he's not going to hurt the kids, keep texting them. But as you say, don't let them cuss you out. But keep texting them.
Yeah. We have a few comments about the stress day and things like that. Low B said, doesn't have to be a whole day. Ashley McKay said, you make time for what's important to you, which was what I was talking about in terms of finding the time. And Ashley said, I'm sorry, my mouth froze. Sometimes not realistic with work, kids, etc. You have to plan things a month in advance. Then don't be stressed out by then. Planning things in advance can sometimes be more of a stressor than actually managing stress. At least for me and people that are like me. So I don't know how to navigate that for myself just yet. But that's an important recommendation for people that may need that. And you're right, Lil B. It doesn't have to be the whole day. Zishara said, same as in fitness, you have to let your body rest and process everything that you put it through that week without adding any other factors. And we talked about that a little bit early on. Clarence talked about a rest day, but also, being able to, and it's actually really good to think about it in that way. Like, let's say you work out 3 or 4 times a day, and then you fixate in your mind, your work days as like workout days, and being able to structure your rest days around that. So, it's interesting that all things align like that. And Zishara being a, fitness guru, plugging that in there. Thank you for that tidbit. Ashley McKay says, stress could take you out. You need to make time for yourself as much as possible. And I'm glad you said that, Ashley, because I was talking about how can I make time for that, right? And it's like, how can you kind of not? So I appreciate that perspective, because it really shapes things for me a little bit differently, because I know people who have died from stress, and I know illnesses that are developed from stress and things that, can be other causes to demise because of stress and stressful situations. So thank you for putting that in perspective for us. Clarence, you back with us yet?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Jeanette said I have to plan my free time like a month in advance. Seriously, I get like 2 days a month, but that's my new norm. Yeah. Make it the best 2 days.
I feel you, Jeanette.
The
best 48 hours
days
you can ever have. And get lost, Jeanette. For those 48 hours, whether it's consecutive or individual, for those 2 days, get lost. Go off the grid. If they can't find you, that's fine. You be back tomorrow.
And Jeanette, another thing I'm going to challenge you with: wake up 30 minutes earlier, and really use that time each day to spend with yourself before you do anything. Um, and really be intentional about it. You can spare 30 minutes, I'm sure. We live in first world. We live in America. We all can spare 30 minutes, at the top of our day to really be able to spend a little bit more time with yourself on a short-term basis, as opposed to having to go such long stretches. Low B said, even if you choose to do one thing you enjoy on Sunday and take an hour or two to just indulge in what makes you happy. And sometimes it's about not doing some things. Yeah, that's important too. Clarence, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, saying no is important. Saying I can't. I mean, some people are so stressed out because they don't know how to say no. Like, I just no, I can't. I don't know how. I just don't. I won't be able to do it. And so a lot of people are trying to be everything to everybody, and that right there burns you out, because what you do is you sit back and think, who's going to be anything to me? And so saying no is important. Making sure that you carve out time for just you. You can don't just say no to friends or coworkers or associates. Say no to family. Say no to your children. No, I don't want to go outside right now. I don't want to, go to Walmart, right? Whatever, it is, I don't want to do it. And I think when you learn how to protect your own peace, that's when you can lessen your stress. And take that from somebody who was on a couple weeks ago. If I can just be candid, a couple weeks ago, Robert reported that I was in the hospital, and as a result of my being in the hospital, my primary care physician upped my blood pressure medicine from 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams. And, I'm, somewhere around 30. And so, I'm saying that to people that, like, I am really intentional about, lessening my stress. And my doctor said, Clarence, you have to remove the people and the things out of your life that cause you the most stress. And I've been doing that, and so I can't stress so much that, someone else said stress kills. My mother died at 49, suddenly. It wasn't a long-standing illness. And when she died, the day before, she had gone to the hospital and they had treated her for constipation. 3 o'clock that very next morning, she was dead. And when we got the autopsy, it was because of a issue in the heart. In other words, stress killed her. And so I had to deal with a sudden loss, not because my mother was sick and I had the privilege of seeing her, over a 6-month course and all this. My mom died, overnight, right before my eyes, and it was all because of stress. And so I say to you, as I've been doing for myself, the doctor upped my prescription from 25 to 50 on my blood pressure. That's not good. That's because I need to lessen my stress. And so Jeanette and others, do everything you can. I know it sounds bad to tell the kids and the other people, but if you die, you can't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a chicken dinner or whatever else they want. If you're dead, what good are you to them then? And I hate to put it that way, but you got to take it. I say it this way, and I had to take care of it, and I had to rationalize it in my mind this way. When you're on an airplane and they're giving you the guidelines and the safety warnings, and they say, in the event of whatever, secure your mask first before you help your neighbor, even if your neighbor is your child. Because if you gasping for air and about to die, how you going to help them get their thing? Put your mask on first, and that way you can help as many people as you can. But if you in here grasping for air, helping somebody. But that's what I rest.
That's good,
So
and that's why I want to say this because I got a text that said I love him with all these like little heart emojis around the head, and that's why you're here because people share your perspective. Like there are different perspectives in the world. People share my perspective, and this is a support group where someone has found support by something you said, just as much as someone has taken offense. So I wanted to highlight that as well. And I also
well,
wanted to.
thank you for the one. I welcome all 20,000 of you that take offense, but I appreciate that one. The Bible says if I can just get one, I can make it into the kingdom.
There you go. Jeanette and Amber have both agreed that they fold laundry while watching Real Housewives. And Amber was doing that today. And that's actually, not to be a nerd, but that's actually a technique called gamification, making chores and things that you don't want to do into a game or into an enjoyable activity. One thing I like to do is like when I have to edit videos and things like that, I put little cards in a jar. I have a break jar and a work jar, so I pull a work card and then a break card, until I get through all the work that I have to do, just to kind of break up the monotony and trying to make it a little game. So if you don't know about gamification, that's another way to manage stress. You can research that on your own. That description is not in a link isn't in the description now, but when it's posted, it will be. So if you don't go research it, go look for that on your own. Low B said, like getting all your chores done so that Sunday is for you. Albany says, sometimes I'm stressed about things and it's hard for me to realize what I'm stressed about isn't logical or worth it. I get so caught up, I can no longer rationalize. You want to hit that one?
No, go ahead. I need to respond
Okay.
to a comment after you're done.
Okay. I personally have been a this is something that has been a struggle for me. Stressing about things that aren't logical or aren't worth it, and you really have to use in therapy they call it your rational mind. So there's your emotional mind and your rational mind, and combined that's called your wise mind. You really have to activate the muscles of your rational mind to combat that emotional part, and they have to work in sync with one another. Too much of either one is just going to lead you in stray one way or the other. And it's really you said I see that you said I get so caught up. You have to be able to stop it. You have to be able to interrupt that thought and be able to distract yourself with something. Maybe get up and take. You have to be able to love yourself enough to distract yourself in that very moment. And that's really, for me, the only thing that I've found to be able to overcome that is to be able to say, I love you too much right now. We're going to have to go, on a walk, or we're going to have to go listen to some music, or we're going to have a drink, right? Or like whatever is going to be for the distraction at the moment.
Don't get drunk.
I'm speaking for myself.
No. Just don't. Whatever you do,
don't you tell me what to do. I'm a grown man. Go ahead. I was going to go on to the next comment. So what was?
But I'm not. I'm just a grown preaching man. What I would say to that. What I would say to that point is, you're right. I don't have anything different to say to what you just said. I think she's right, and I think that one of the things you would really have to do is just take time to appreciate who you are and what you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing different from what you said.
Okay. Mish0489 said, I like the sound of recovery days or moments. I think sometimes saying like a self-care day can make people feel like they're being selfish when in reality you need that time every now and then.
Yeah.
I want to say something. Have you seen the show Blackish, Clarence?
Yeah.
Okay, so based on the title Blackish, what do you get about the show? That it's about what?
I'm black. Well, I'm about being black, but
okay.
About being black.
Yeah, that's all I wanted you to say. Yep. And so, yep, you said it perfectly. And so selfish is being about self enough, right? It ain't too much, it ain't too little, but it's enough to identify with myself. So there's nothing wrong with being selfish. And society has perpetuated that selfishness is bad. But being enough of in tune with yourself is a good thing. It's good to be selfish at times, to be able to seize your time and point and direct your time to yourself to be able to regenerate yourself. My kids sometimes don't like that I do that to them. When it's like I need to be alone right now, but it's something that I need to do to better care for them. Because if I don't do that, I'm snappy and I just have this mood with me, and then it's a tense environment. So making them suffer for that 10 minutes, or even if it turns into 2 hours, is a lot better than 2 days. So make sure you take that selfish time that you need, and you put need in capitalization. So you got to seize it, right? You got anything to say about that, Clarence?
Yeah, I mean, as a single parent, I remember when I would go to bed and pray and ask God to help me to do better tomorrow. And what I mean by that is, I would be so stressed out and so angry and so bitter and all those other things, that frustrated and whatever else, that I would take out my anxiety and my frustrations on my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, put them to bed, and they would, give me kisses, and we would do our nightly prayer and all. And I would put them to bed, and I would go to bed lamenting because I was so sad at the fact that I could not control my temper, or I could not, whatever it was, in order to protect their sensibilities. And I
Mm-hmm.
would go to bed and ask God that He would help me to do better tomorrow. And every night I would do that, and I would be on the brink of tears because I knew that because of my own stress and hurt and pain and dismal plays, that I was taking that on my kids. And so I say to the commenter that you need to take that 20 minutes or that 2 hours away from whatever. My father in ministry used to tell me, before I had kids, before I was married, he would say, Clarence, take a moment, go back to your room, go back to your hotel, go back to your office, wherever you are in the middle of your day, whether you're at a conference or you got to preach or wherever. Take a moment, go back to your room, even if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to sleep or freshen up, whatever. Take a moment to
Just take a moment.
refresh,
Yeah.
to recharge, to reflect. Take a moment. Go upstairs. You know, take a moment to reflect, recharge, and then represent. After you've reflected, recharged, refreshed yourself, now you can represent yourself to the space, and you're a little bit more gregarious, a little bit more tangible. And so I would, I would, just um, encourage that. Take a moment, even if it's 5 minutes. You deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I learned, and I'm not to finish, but here's what I learned. My mother named me Clarence. The church named me Reverend Jackson. My children named me Daddy. My students named me Mr. Jackson. But my name is Clarence. And so when my children call me, I'm not Clarence. I'm Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
When the church calls me, I'm not Clarence. I'm Rem Jackson. When the school called me, I'm not Clarence. I'm Mr. Jackson. I need a moment to just be Clarence, because that's what my mama named me. I was
Mm-hmm.
Clarence long as I've been Daddy. I only been Daddy for 7 years. I only been Mr. Jackson as a teacher for 6 or 5. I only been Rem Jackson for 12. And so
Yeah, I
I'm
feel you.
Clarence.
I feel you.
And so after a while, if I gotta be Rem Jackson, Mr. Jackson, Pastor Jackson, after a while, one of y'all gonna get Clarence. If I didn't take a moment to refresh, recharge, and represent. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you took the time to flesh that out, because that's important, because we talk about that all the time, you and I, being Robert A. Douglas, and I'm like, sometimes I just want to be Rob, like I just want to just
Wow.
be Rob, and don't nobody say anything about the obnoxious things that Rob might say or do, right? Uh,
Sometimes I
and-
just want to be Buddha, but nobody know Buddha. But somebody get it. nobody gets a chance to see Buddha but my family, and
Yeah,
sometimes,
man.
what, listen, bro, listen. Can I help you here? Like the person who texts or hit you up, and I'm not browbeating the person, but I'm so sick of it. The person who's your brother, well, kids, he's saying getting drunk. Look, you get drunk as you want. That ain't. I don't have a heaven hell to put you in. But I got family members when I go to social events with my family, cookouts and reunions and birthday parties. They will make an announcement. Buddha is here,
Mm-hmm.
not Pastor, not Reverend Jackson. Buddha is here, not Clarence. Sometimes you just gotta be you. And you got people looking at you across the room because you laughed at a dirty joke. Oh, and he's supposed to be the pastor. Shut up and mind your business. You're supposed to be a Christian, but
You
you
somebody
lied
church
3 times.
mother. You somebody old church mother.
You lied to what? You mad with me because I'm being real, but you got your job from lying. You know damn well you ain't have 3 years in customer service. You got fired after 6 months, but because you needed a job, you put 3. Let me stop. We got 4 minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I let you. I wanted to support you. I was going to allow you the time. I was going to allow you the time at the end to get that off you because I saw it on you. But
It's all fine.
all right.
It's all fine.
And I will say something at the
would
end. Let me get through these comments real quick. I will say something at the end. Tiffany says, "I've actually been making this as a part of my me time, so I appreciate you both." Yeah, and I appreciate everyone that shared different things in the comments because that's really going to help me. Like when you all share, like you help us be able to incorporate new things in our lives as well to be better. In the descriptions as well as 17 strategies to manage stress. If you need to use that, click that link as well.
Yeah.
That's a good resource as well. Veronica Simmons said, "Being on this call and hearing I'm not the only one struggling is helpful to me in terms of stress, anxiety, etc." And I'm glad, and this is why we are here, and we're glad that you're here with us to be able to get that type of support. So we appreciate that type of feedback. Nasasha said, "I agree about waking up early. I don't feel rust, so less stress." When I made the recommendation about 30 minutes earlier. Ashley McKay said something important, and when you say no, mean it and stick to it. I've been working on that, and I'm getting real good with that. I got the face with it and everything now. That joint down packed. That joint tough, bro. Amber said that illustration makes things very clear, Clarence, on the importance of protecting your space and managing your stress that you use. So thank you for sharing that, Amber. Jeanette said, "I still, Robert A. got past beat. Must be the beard and glasses." Oh, I still say Robert A. got past a beat. Must be the beard and the glasses. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. Y'all crazy. I'm an introvert, so don't do that to me. Like, don't do that to me, y'all. On this live. Jeanette said, "Y'all, I don't decompartmentalize like that. Jeanette just be creeping out all over the place. I don't care anymore." Pastor Jax is sick of y'all today. Ashley said, "Yes, Pastor Jax is big mad. Pastor's big mad." And let me say, and I'm glad that we're here because now I want to say this. And I did not cut Clarence off for any reason other than that we're here to support everyone, and I plan to address this at the end. Clarence would not be on this platform if he wasn't as authentic as he is. He has a way of, you have to kind of understand his humor or you'll take offense to it if you don't take time to understand what he's saying. So that's why I wanted to give him the opportunity to clarify himself and be able to address it. Not to highlight or spotlight you, but I didn't want you or anyone that would potentially watch to leave with a misunderstanding of his solidarity and who he is and why he's even here to be able to be a support, because we are working under the National Mental Health Association of America, and so we take this seriously, and I just wanted to make sure that no one walked away with a misunderstanding of him or what he was presenting. And with that, Timothy said, appreciate this dialogue. Keep it going, brother. Yeah, we appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you for going M.I.A. with us this week. Please join us next week at the same time. Please make sure you use that anonymous chat, or you can continue to use this chat here to be able to talk about things throughout the week and be able to get some relief, and maybe we're able to get some messages to you. As always, you can get our Go M.I.A. shirt at the link in the description below. Those coupon codes are still available if you remember them from the last week. And on that, we're going to end with Misha's comment that says, I totally agree. I have gained a lot from learning to be selfish. I also had to learn that the people or person who have a problem with that are probably one of your biggest stressors. And yeah, that is absolutely right. I was going to end on that comment, but then I got another comment that came in because I love my brother. And he said, we love, Jeanette said, we love Pastor Jacks always. And again, it's really a matter of, being able to support. Love you, Buddha. Ashley said, LaShawn said, great topic. Thank you all for being here with us and still hanging around with us to be able to conclude it. Thank you. Please be sure to like this video, share this video with someone that you think may benefit from it. And I want to reference everyone to Pastor Jack's page for his moment this past week. It was very impactful. It is something that I don't want to give it too much of it away. But it's something that you want to see. Please go to his Facebook page. It's called Daytime in the Darkness. And that's the right title, right?
Darkness in the Daytime.
Darkness in the Daytime. I knew it didn't sound right. I knew it sounded a little backwards when it came off my tongue. And be sure to check that out. Thank you all for coming out. We'll see you next week.